Widow, but with the bunker comp coming out from the side of Blazing Pegasus, the Widow's not going to find a ton of value, or shouldn't. But they're going to get a bunch of free push here because they're set up so far back. A nice boot comes through from Bird, displacing the Orisa and the Hog, so it's just 360 by himself up behind that shield, and the Orisa's not quite there. Disappoint does fall to 360, but gets taken out a turn by Rudolph. The Rezka is there to bring the Bastion back up to life. But there's no... Oh, Vagabond gets on there just in the nick of time to save this point. But Quiet Game is super low in the back. Vagabond is going to take out Sakura, and with 360 taking out Bird, this should be a reset from Otter Oxide, but it is so close to the end.
Oh my goodness. That almost gave me a heart attack. Holy moly, the cart. Oh, and the Zen.
Rudolph, the duel between the bots and the back. And Rudolph gets out. He doesn't even get punished. Rudolph is my favorite Zen at the moment. Who cares about Jonak when you have Rudolph in the game? There's going to be a res that comes through from the aptly named reliable res, and we now have the bunker comp set up on the cart. A bit of but 360 is split off from it. Gets hacked by Sakura in the back with the hook coming through, but from Quiet Game, Sakura is no more. Vagabond's going to take out Bowl of Bowls as well. With the res coming through on Pharah, I still think they're just going to have to back out here as Pine Ninja does fall in the end.
Yeah. Basically, for the side of Otter Oxide, it's going to be EMP Barrage, right? EMP Barrage. That is what they're counting on, or EMP Diva Bomb. EMP plus one of the fights, or sorry, one of the ults should be all that's needed. But I think if Vagabond is able to basically use this tire early and get a lot of purchase from it, it could halt the push right then and there.
For sure. So we have Bowl of Bowls now moving up on the cart, facing up against Sir Derp Slot. Actually rotating around, the early tire comes out from Vagabond. I like this, as Quiet Game also uses his ult. Gets hacked out of it, however. A Vagabond is going to find a Disappoint in the back. The EMP from Sakura is going to come through, followed by 360's own ult there. And Pine Ninja is going to toss the self-destruct in. That should find 360, and it does. There's 3 now on the cart for the side of Otter Oxide with just Quiet Game and Reliable Res. Corner shouldn't be able to touch it in time. Reliable Res is... that is an absolutely ballsy Res that comes through, brings up Quiet Game, but that's only going to delay this cart for a little bit longer. And that's going to be Otter Oxide taking map 2 as well.
Oh man, that fight was... They almost did it. But you know what happened? The Ana was getting harassed, and she wasn't able to get a nade. She had to use a nade on herself. She wasn't able to be much use because Cornish was it was the Zen on the... It was Rudolph who was actually harassing. And I think the Sombra was there too, in the backline on Cornish, and wasn't able to provide any value on the very, very last fight because they were getting harassed and dove on. And it was a bit of a poor positioning, and also the EMPs. But I like the initiative. I really, really like the sort of the bunker style comp. The Roadhog, I think, was that res on the Roadhog. Reliable res indeed. Holy moly, your name does not disappoint.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Rudolph's play all throughout that game. Honestly, they, not just doing the Bastion and getting out, but just a solid play all around from Rudolph.
Okay, you are biased because you're that main.
A little bit, potentially.
Were you speccing only Rudolph? I feel like this is what happened.
No, yes, I was in third person.
Yes. Okay, it's okay. We all know.
And honestly, I still think that, for that Bastion comp, I think that Zen is still kind of one of the best counters to that Bastion, because you get that Discord, you get that focus damage, especially if the Orisa has to drop to contest, or you get that Pharah boop. Really, it was, a team effort, but having that Bastion to just sort of delete having the Zenyatta to delete the Bastion.
That is if the Bastion is out of position, right? Which is what happened during that I think 2 fights before the last one. And then they had to use the res on the Bastion. Yep. So, yeah. But no, the Discord, absolutely. If the team, the Diva defense matrix holds for 2 seconds, you have 2 seconds to basically go in and, overwhelm them. especially if you have a speed boost, which I don't really in that point, but especially if you have a speed boost, just basically get in their face and Discord DM, like the Bastion can't do anything.
Absolutely. And I think that, just because of the way that Otter Oxide was able to defend initially made it so that Blazing Pegasus didn't have a lot of room for error there, right? So they were set up
No.
very far back, and on that first push, they basically got it, within a meter. Um,
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
was
it
that's
was like I
that
said, almost gave me a heart attack because they were if the Junkrat hadn't dropped down, which is it shouldn't be his job, but he had to. The Junkrat was actually clutch there. If he
Yeah,
hadn't dropped, like they would have capped it.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, it's one of those things where like there's not really a great drop target because if you drop the Orisa, then she can't drop a shield because she still has to shield the Bastion up above. Um, I don't know. I just don't know necessarily if it was the comp for that situation, right? I think if
Well,
they had
no, you
had more
have
room for
the
error,
if
then yeah,
basically you have the Roadhog drop or two people drop together.
right, yeah, and Quiet Game did that after the next push, right? He was very much
Mhm.
on the cart, and sort of watching for that. I think he was trying to get high ground, in that initial one after getting booped down. Um, but yeah, the next map's gonna be Horizon Lunar Colony.
Bastion can work well here as well. Bunker is very, very strong on this map for defense. And going dive against it, unless you are super coordinated and have ults up, it can be challenging.
And what you
So
can also do is use a Symmetra.
you
Eh?
absolutely
Eh?
can. And I know you just basically was it Cornish? That is the sim, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Cornish,
But that is one of their support players, right? So that's a little bit more risky than, like having a DPS or an off tank kind of take that role.
this is true. But dropping a TP like is does not, requires like a few button presses. It's not the
Not
the
the hardest.
hardest of things to do. Although the sight lines, I will say, can be a little bit tricky.
Yeah.
So it does require like prior practice just to make sure you get it like on the point and not or as close to point as possible, not elsewhere. Because the teleporter, how many times have you been debated by a sim teleporter? You take the TP and you land straight into the enemy team and you get deleted. Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
It is.
So it does
I mean,
require some coordination, but I like like I said, I like the innovation that Blazing Pegasus had, and I like their comp. I like the thought behind it. Um, just in the end, like the EMP man, the EMP was very, very good, and with Cornish being sort of uh sectioned off on one side and basically have to defend themselves against I think the Zen and the Sombra. It just yeah,
yeah, the Sombra Zen dive is too strong.
is that what you is that what you want? I will make sure to include that in our next Sombra Zen. Bastion too, right? Sombra Zen Bastion.
Absolutely, yeah.
Dive heroes 100%.
Yep. Some of the
Let's
most mobile of characters.
Oh, yes. Like all you need is like a Lucio speed boost and you're basically like you're unkillable. Like Bastion
Basically
has a
like a wrecking
self
ball.
heal and yes,
But
exactly
I mean,
with
so speaking of that
combined.
mobility and that wrecking ball, I mean, we've seen Hammond come out quite a bit in the first two maps. I wonder what the possibility for these sort of like triple DPS, quad DPS kind of comps to come out on first point at least initially um, will be, and I kind of wonder how that goes into bunker too, right? Because it's usually used to counter goats, but if they're running that bunker, then I don't think it's going to be nearly as effective.
If the bunker is run well. Yes, because in the first point, well, they didn't cap it past the first point, but on the defense, when BP was basically doing the bunker comp, I liked I think they were expecting a dive, and so the Junkrat put a trap like on where the like right around where the Bastion was set up. So I
Uh,
like the forethought in that. So
yeah.
basically, when they dive, they get trapped. But unfortunately, that didn't exactly happen. I do think that Otter Oxide read BP pretty well, and they knew what ults to use in any given fight to like definitively win it. So, yeah, it will be interesting to see what either side runs. I wouldn't be surprised if it's, a Sombra and the Hammond, and I'm always super happy to see these sort of unexpected heroes. Um, you think we're gonna see goats? Haven't seen goats yet.
Yeah, I kind of don't think so, right? Like neither of these teams has shown, really the desire to run it. And I'm totally okay with that. I mean, they did pull out a Brig at one point, but that was still in a 2-2-2 comp.
The Brig actually got a lot of value
Yeah,
on the yeah. The Brig got 2 and like was able to survive a lot longer. It was just like a question, they just ended up getting overwhelmed though.
right. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it was also into that May, right? That was on that map. Or no, it was actually into
Shrine. It was
the
still
yeah, it was
Shrine.
on into the Hammond, right? To
Yeah,
the dive.
Hammond, and like once, the Brig like gets hacked or slashed or just like
Right.
shot in the face and interrupted, it's hard to be a Brig player.
Absolutely. But yeah, another player that I sort of want to call it is Sakura, because she was on the Hammond, especially in the last map, as well as the Sombra, and she was doing a lot of work there. Um,
Yeah, she had mines, I think the first fight. They like started off the first fight, like definitive fight, with mines. And I'm like, damn, you doing work, girl. And
Absolutely.
yeah, it took out the enemies Zarya right away. I think like I don't know if it was intentional that they called out like the bubbles or not, but like the Zarya was just like dead in water, unfortunately, the moment the mines came through, and those were well placed too.
Yeah, she basically hit that Q key as soon as she came back. It just happened to be at like the perfect moment to like section off the tanks
Yeah.
immediately from the rest of the team. And Cornish, teases that sim immediately. I'm hoping. Don't let me down, Cornish.
Team, you got to play to your strengths. 100%. You have to play to your strengths. And if your strength is having a amazing sim player on your team, then I say go for it. Work around it.
Absolutely. So we have AJ Man coming in now on the side of Blazing Pegasus, but it looks like pretty much everything is the same for Otter Oxide, with Bullet Bulls still remaining their main tank. I'm interested to see if they're going to run this a bunker comp of their own on defense.
We're going to find out in about 3 seconds.
I'm holding onto my seat. It happened. Oh, we might have dive defense with a Hammond. No, that's on attack. I'm throwing in many ways. It looks like we'll have a Goats defense, however, coming out from Blazing Pegasus.
I like it. I like it. I mean, Goats does counter a dive, so it should work. I think the problems they're going to run into are, once again, the Pharah. If the D.Va is not able to zone away the Pharah, not necessarily kill her, but zone her away, like, make her have to, like, make her ineffective by basically taking her so low that she is afraid to be in the air to shoot rockets, right?
That's true. And also they have the double threat of the Sombra, right? As soon as that EMP comes online, the entire comp gets disabled. It becomes much harder to defend against anything, especially Barrage particularly, right? So we're going to have Famsu come up here and do some scouting. 360 is going to drop immediately on this Winston, as we have the floats comp here try and pepper some lightning in. The dive comes out of Cornish. He's separated from the rest of his team. He's going to fall immediately to Sakura and Bullet Bulls combining for that one. A Quiet Game is going to be positioned on point here, as Bullet Bulls is going to take out Reliable Res, and with Bird taking out the Brig, it's going to be a lot of sustain down here for the side of Otter Oxide, and they're just going to get a little bit rolled over as Bullet Bulls moves on. And they'll so that'll be Otter Oxide taking the first point here. What did you think of that first fight?
I like, I'm speechless because it was
poor Zen.
It was dismantled so thoroughly because I did not see goats. I saw basically 6 individual people.
And immediately Cornish gets taken out again by Bird. They really have Cornish's number and are focusing quite hard. We have Otter Oxide now setting up on point here. Quiet Game is going to get deep-necked, and 360 is going to fall as Vagabond and Reliable Res. Bird comes through with the Barrage to take on Vagabond as well as Reliable Res. And Cornish is just going to tag onto point briefly to try and delay this out a little bit longer. The mines are going to come out to try and secure this point. We have 360 and Quiet Game coming back with the Hammond now. Gets slept off point, but immediately woken up. A Nano comes onto Bullet Bulls to try and finish this out. Vagabond already out of his ice block, so he's going to get taken down as he walks back to the mines. Unfortunate. And we're going to have an EMP to seal the deal. And that's going to be a blazing fast offense from Otter Oxide.
I see what you did there with the puns. After they
I had to use it at some point.
You did. You did. I predicted 6:15. Like, as soon as they cap first, I'm like, they're gonna get it by 6:15. I was off by 4 seconds. I'm scuffed.
Empress the Prophet.
No, I was off by 4 seconds, man. But yeah, okay. So floats goats, your strength lies in the fact that you are together.
Yep.
The AoE healing from like pretty much, Lucio, from Brig, and then, the single target focus. This is not what I saw. I saw just them being dismantled one by one. The rest of the team like on point with the Zen, just the poor Zen by himself, and the poor Zen has been by himself. It's I don't know. I guess I'm a little disappointed.
Yeah, and I think that, having that floats into dive is not nearly as strong as having the Ryan, and if they just like forced it onto point with a more Ryan-based comp, I think it would have gone a lot better. Having the floats is more sort of a counter against the Ryan goats as they attack on this point, so maybe they were sort of thinking that Otter Oxide would run goats, and they just got out-comped as a result. But speaking of comps now, we have Otter Oxide opting for a bunker comp on the defense.
Well, I don't know if the Widow is going to get much value, but I will wait
believe
and
in
see.
Bird, actually. Like, honestly, Bird has been impressing me on
Yes.
both the Widow and the Pharah. So I think, I think it'll work out. And I'm really hoping that there was like an initial pick right as they came in to like really drive that point home and reward my faith. But we do see a nice Hulk come out, but the shield is going to be there to protect anyone. Vagabond's going to fall very low. Isn't fully healed up. The D-Mech comes through onto AJ Man. And Quiet Game is going to fall as well. Famsu doing a lot of work with his Junkrat in these tight corridors, and Cornish is going to fall as well, and that's going to signal the retreat here, eventually, I hope, for Blazing Pegasus. Oh dear. Vagabond is getting staggered quite a bit here, trying to go off the edge.
Yeah. So you want to force them onto point. I'm not really sure what their reasoning there was. I mean, I get it, but like I didn't see an engage on the squishies, right? The squishies just disengaged.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that they take the opposite route and go, speed under.
Good. They are. It seems like no.
Oh, they're gonna rotate. They are anti.
I like.
Bird gets a huge 2 picks. They commit the tire as well. I think that's a little bit of an over investment here, as this fight is pretty much already won single-handedly by Bird. We have Bird set up on the high ground now, taking out another member before eventually the Otter Oxide's going to hold.
Can I meme a little bit? Bird.
Absolutely.
Bird is a word. Bird. Okay, sorry. I'm done. All right. Yeah, Bird basically won that fight single-handedly for them. It was like basically dink, fight one, and I'm not really quite sure what Famsu, he really wanted to still play the game.
Absolutely. But I don't think that he's going to. I think Bird pretty much has that locked up at this point.
Yeah, I think so too.
And we do see a switch on a full dive here coming out from Blazing Pegasus. Bird might be able to find a pick. He's looking at the squishies in the back. The dive is going to come up. They're going to try and rotate up to... Oh, Vagabond gets taken out immediately by Famsu. With 360 falling, that's going to signal a retreat for Blazing Pegasus. Are you okay over there, Empress?
Dive means you dive. Dive does not mean you walk into them.
I think they're still playing with a goat's mentality, right?
I'm so confused.
But it's also like dive into this is very difficult.
Yeah, like
which is a point that you've made many times to me.
Yes, well, many times, not just to you, to everyone I know, and to my team especially. But if you want to dive, let's dive onto the point, or let's dive. Period. Not walk into them with the Junkrat.
Right, so coming into here, we have the initial dive. 360 gets trapped immediately. Huge nade coming through from, I think it must have been a reflect from a disappoint. And we have Bird taking down reliable res. There should still be a fairly good defense here, as they no longer have the sustain. The AJ Man is going to get taken down as well. And the bunker cop holds strong. At this point is really doing a lot of work, that anti-nade was...
that anti-nade was huge.
And of course, that trap is just sitting there right where the Winston wants to jump into. Sakura's gonna do a bomb and a drop and gets his reliable res as he tries to GA through that wide open area. Famsu's gonna pop the tire, taking out AJ Man, who might have even been just barely coming out of stealth. The nano comes onto Bird. I like this as Rudolph pops off, takes out 360 and Cornish, and helps with taking Quiet Game out of Mech. And with a final kill into Vagabond and Quiet Game, that's going to be Otter Oxide holding strong here on the third map.
Guys, Bird is the word.
Bird is the word. Yeah, Bird was impressive. And here is that before-mentioned play of the game, with the sharpshooter taking out both of the sports, I think.
Okay, I'm excited to see this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huge anti from at this point.
Yeah,
Ooh. That is pretty clean.
I see you, Famsu. I see you trying to get play of the game from Bird. I see that rip tire.
I mean, but that's also probably like they talked and planned beforehand. We're gonna use rip tire this fight. It just wasn't, necessary in that fight. I think if he rip tired earlier as they were coming through, he could have gotten easily, like a 4K or something, right? And taken that play of the game.
Yes, but well, I mean, Bird. Bird is the word, man. No. Yeah, like rotating is so tricky, right? It's just so tricky. Like, so basically you have to go in, make sure all your cooldowns are up, and then when like you initiate with the DM to make sure that the anti-nade doesn't go through, the DM was a little bit too early, and then you huddle all your supports behind Ryan's big fat shield, and then you speed and hope that your shield holds, and then DM when the shield breaks, and then make yourselves onto the point. And if it was just like a little bit cleaner, I think they would have made it. But yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think the call to like speed was there, and the Brig and the Zen were kind of too far in front of the shield. I think the shield actually dropped for the Zen, but which is just kind of unfortunate. I think the Reinhardt was really trying to get that shield in place.
Yes,
and
yes. Yeah, it's always tough being a Reinhardt because you have to trust that your team is going to, if you do have the shield up, you have to trust that your team is going to play behind it. Absolutely. And then if your team doesn't, who gets blamed? No, it's not the Ryan, or is it the Ryan? It's
usually the Ryan.
Yeah.
But now we're heading into Blizzard World. Do we think we'll see a little bit more goats? We saw some goats that time. It wasn't very successful.
I just want to see them pop off on characters that they're comfortable playing, as opposed to forcing comps that necessarily they aren't the strongest at. So if they want to run like a 1-3-2, like one tank, like something like what Otter Oxide did, like I don't think that would be a bad idea. It would completely catch Otter Oxide off guard, at least for the first push, right? At least for the first point. So like I think that's always a possibility. But
Though speaking of that, we do have Xavier X come back in, who was their solo Hammond main tank from the first map. So maybe we might see that single tank Hammond on the side of Otter Oxide.
This is true. I am hoping that we see Bird on Widowmaker again, and so I can meme some more.
But they've been popping on Pharah as well, pretty consistently. So
yes,
I think
but which character got play of the game?
That's true.
Widowmaker.
True. Absolutely.
And with the long sight lines, like the Widow's just Right. I think if they do run goats and their rotations aren't clean, and if they miss position, this is on the side of BP, like they're just going to take a lot of damage coming in. So like if they do run goats, that's something that to be very, very careful for. And if they don't, like I think they fared better when they ran more DPS, to be perfectly honest.
I think so as well. Yeah, I think staying away from that goats for this matchup is probably a good idea. And I think especially playing to their strengths and whatnot.
Just want to see that sim on Cornish. I think like a teleport Bastion could be so OP here.
Absolutely. And and speaking of sort of the comfort picks, like 360 was on main tank that last game, but was on DPS before. But as I say that, we'll see what comes out here. It looks like he's going to be preferring that main tank once again. But on the side of Otter Oxide, it looks like we're going to have another bunker, perhaps, for the defense.
Reaper, that's an interesting pick.
You do get your Widow Bird,
My Widow Bird.
your Bird Maker. Hopefully
I
not
like.
that.
I think it's better than Widow Bird.
I think so too, but it's still it's kind of a weird image.
Widow Birder?
Widow Bird.
Okay. Okay. I think we're forcing it at this point.
A little bit. Bird is the word. We'll stick with that one. And so we see a 2-2-2 come out on the side of Blazing Pegasus now, as they're going to have a Sombra and a Genji paired with Orion and Zarya, as well as this Lucio and Mercy. So sort of an interesting comp coming out here. AJ Man's going to come up here and scout and see that they do indeed have this bunker comp. Probably see that they have a Reaper as well. And they're going to get an initial hack off onto, I think it got interrupted, and AJ Man really needs to get out of there quickly.
Litcat did get hacked. But
Okay.
yeah, they got literally.
Rudolph is going to take out AJ Man immediately. I like Rudolph already in this map. As,
You liked Rudolph the whole entire time.
Absolutely. As 360 takes out Famsu on the defense, but that's going to be the only pick that's coming through for the side of Blazing Pegasus, as Sakura and Rudolph are going to take out 2 more. And really, the remaining members of Blazing Pegasus are going to get cleaned up there. So, what do you think of this comp coming out from Blazing Pegasus?
I don't think they should have gone for a hack. I think they like when everybody moved in. I think the Sombra should have just basically like done like as much distracting damage as they could, and they should have focused whoever was on point. In which case it was, I know the Reaper to get picked off, but I think it was the Diva.
Ooh, a nice pick from Bird comes out onto Reliable Res. So that's going to be taking out both a Mercy as well as any potential Res targets that might have gotten hacked. AJ Man's not going to find Sakura that time. And is going to fall shortly thereafter. I think Blazing Pegasus really needs to back up at this point.
Yeah, I don't understand why the Sombra was frontlining. Like,
Really,
the
like, the
Sombra
Sombra
should
need to be
100%. They need being behind, like 100%. Sombra should always be behind on this side, but never in their face, like straight on like that.
Oh, Bird gets a nice pick onto AJ Man, who's coming back from spawn. Without that Ryan shield to really protect the approach from this Widow, she just has free reign over that sight line. And it's just such a long, drawn-out approach. As Cornish gets picked out by Litcat, following up a nice pull from the Xavier EXE. Bird is going to follow up on Quiet Game, as well as Sakura gets 2 of her own. Third as 360 falls, and they finally go back to spawn as Blazing Pegasus.
No one can hide from my sight.
I think that was a really good time to, well, maybe I think a Bird have used it a little bit later.
Yeah,
because they'd all died. It was a little early, yeah.
But we do have AJ Man now on this Widow, so we're going to have some Widow duels. But I think Bird has the advantage here simply because of the shield. Though as I say that, yeah, Bird rotates back to behind the shield and gets set up with these sight lines. AJ Man is currently far in the back and not taking advantage of the Reinhardt shield, so that's going to be a huge advantage to Bird. 360 is going to push up at a point here with the rest of Blazing Pegasus. Vagabond's going to bop his Dragon Blade. A nice pull. He is going to take out Bird even through though this trance was popped by Rudolph. But with Sakura taking out 2 and the third onto Vagabond, that's going to be the end of that push for Blazing Pegasus.
Ooh, why didn't they sound barrier there? I think Vagabond could have gotten 2 more with the sound barrier.
Yeah, as soon as that trance was invested, I think, you know, and
They should have just, well, so as soon as the
Yeah.
trance was invested, that's good, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what they're supposed to do. This is what they're supposed to do. They should have sped out, disengaged,
Yeah.
and then like beat it in to renegotiate and shattered.
Absolutely. So Vagabond's going to try and contest Sakura on this high ground. He gets a bubble and gets out. A nice hook, a nice pull is going to come out from Xavier to pull them all back. Vagabond is now in on Rudolph, taking this 1v1. But Bird is going to take him out with the help of a Venom Mine. Rudolph is moved down to point, and a Diubon comes up from Sakura. Isn't going to find anyone, but with the members of Otter Oxide here on point, 360 is going to fall immediately. Famsu is going to pop the Death Blossom as time ticks down, and that's going to be Otter Oxide first holding on first point rather.
Score 0.
Yep. It's been a full hold for I think all the maps that have a capture point.
Right. So basically, Blazing Pegasus has to dig really deep here to hold from not getting a single tick and pulling out this draw. Do you think we'll see the Bastion come out again with the Orisa bunker comp?
I think it's a possibility. I think if they have the Bastion set up on the high ground, they can mow down the enemy Rhine shield. It could work. Or if the enemy team runs dive, well, bunker counters dive. So that could also work.
Yeah.
I think the key, if they do decide to run the Bastion, is for the Bastion not to be out of position. But they're gonna stick with a Sombra, which I don't really think that's the best idea here.
Yeah, I think AJ Man really needed to farm EMP as fast as possible and not go for those hacks. I think that would have been the better way to sort of dislodge the bunker comp that came out from the side of Otter Oxide.
Yeah, so like unless that you know the enemy team and you're keeping track of ults, like has a certain ult that you want to negate, that's when you go for a hack. But otherwise, if you are like if you want to farm EMP and your team's dependent on the EMP to push to win the engage, then that is what you should be doing.
Absolutely. So now we see Dive come out on the side of Otter Oxide into this bunker comp. I'm curious if they're going to stick onto it. Bird takes an initial hit from the 360 on this Widowmaker, swapping over from main tank now to the Widow. And they're going to heal up. Otter Oxide will at the choke here, rotate around to this intermediate high ground. Try and take some space as Cornish is looking for a 5-ball that isn't going to find anyone. AJ Man is in the middle of their team and is going to get taken down by a Bionade before she can translocate out. That triggers the dive as Xavier jumps onto the Orisa. Bird is actually going to concussion blast Cornish off as well as kill Reliable Res, taking out both healers. Xavier is going to take down 360, and this looks like a route now here on point A of Blizzard World, and as all 6 members are on the point, there isn't going to be a recontest by AJ Man, and that's going to be Otter Oxide taking the series 4-0. Really impressive stuff coming out from Otter Oxide.
Yeah, it was very, very clean.
Play of the game.
Bird!
Bird gets the play of the game, not on Widow this time, but on that far out. This was a nice
beautiful.
move.
This was beautiful. Look at that.
Oh.
Hey guys, what's up? My name is Bird. I'm in your face. I'm in the sky.
Not
I'm
only was
raining
there
hell from above.
The nice target priority onto the remaining healer, Reliable Res
Yes.
stood no chance at that point, completely out of position and taken out immediately.
All right, guys. So what did we learn for tonight? That bird is the word.
Absolutely. So if you had to pick a player of the match from tonight's game, who do you think it would be? Bird?
Are you gonna say something like Rudolph?
I want to, but Bird was also really
The
good.
Zen-nosed reindeer?
I don't know. I mean, is there a skin in which he has, red balls and then, can put it in front of the nose? He has the Nutcracker one, but that's not quite
Yeah.
what I'm thinking of. But I think
I think that's it for tonight, guys. Thank you
Absolutely.
for tuning in, and I realized it was last minute, so appreciate the views. But yeah, this was a very, very clean game from Otter Oxide. BP did show signs of life, but I think they probably should go back to the drawing board a little bit and, play to their strengths here, play to their strengths. I think they have really talented individual players. I think a little bit more coordination, and some of the maps were really close, especially on the Route 66 one.
Yeah, that definitely could have gone either way. I think they had the ingredients there for a full hold, defense. It just, their attack just fell a little bit short to sort of enable that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Otter Oxide really impressive, and yeah, thank you so much everyone for tuning in, and thanks to the teams for the delay getting the stream set up. We really appreciate it, and we had a lot of fun casting.
All right, and this is Empress signing off. Good night, and thanks for watching.
Thanks so much, everybody.